quick overview again. Bharat and I, we taught 36th grade students at Synergy Kinetic Academy, which is a charter school just a couple of minutes away from USC. If we look at the map that we saw earlier, USC is around here and Synergy Kinetic is there. So it's about less than 2 miles away. Same type of demographics, mostly like primarily Hispanic students, low-income families. And we taught, obviously, on cardiovascular mechanics. We taught 4 lessons. It was very biology, kind of science related, but we also tied in some engineering topics and kind of all put it together with a story that each week allowed the students to learn a little bit more about how our heart works. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my expectations and kind of why I initially signed up to take this class. I signed up to take this class just because it sounded like it'd be a lot of fun. It sounded very different from any other technical elective that's offered here at USC. Deep down, I kind of always wanted to go into education, but for some reason I ended up sticking to engineering. So when I heard about this class, it definitely sounded like a lot of fun. It's something I would like to do. I thought this class was going to be challenging because I had never taught before. And it actually turned out to be pretty challenging to be able to come up with effective lesson plans that a 6th grader would be able to understand and do an experiment for. But it was definitely worth it. And also I thought it was a great way to help me develop better communication skills, to learn how to speak in front of people, and also a great way to give back to the community.
As for my expectations, I actually, for our technical writing course, Writing 340, we presented a proposal to the California Science Center across the street, and me and my group, our idea was to implement a high school internship program through the California Science Center. We actually proposed it in front of their outreach board, and they're really excited about it, but the thing was there's so much red tape with the Science Center. It was such a big project also to get off the ground that it never really ended up lifting off. And so when I heard about Iridescent, it kind of had the same goals that me and my group of engineers thought of. I was really excited about the opportunity. However, for my program that I had proposed, I never thought I would actually be teaching, but I figured I like working with students, I like volunteering, I like talking, I like engineering, might as well try teaching. But there's more to teaching than just talking. As Carol warned me, it's going to be one of the hardest things you'll do, but you'll be okay. So with that in mind, a little bit of fear, I went in with an open mind, and I found out I had an amazing experience. So
This is kind of a picture of the first lesson that we taught. And I actually have a model. Our concept for this lesson was that the heart is a pump. So we taught the students a little bit about that, and then we had them build a simple model where this glove represented the heart, and then we had the tubing to represent the arteries and veins, and the cup represented the body. So each one of the students built their own model, and we filled it up with blood, and we had them apply a force to the glove and see that it pushed water out. And since our students were actually really smart, the idea that the heart was a pump was pretty basic to them. So we actually introduced the concept of pressure, where we got the students to understand that pressure was equal to force over area. And we had them make observations to see through what tube water went up fastest through, because one of these has a smaller diameter than the other. So they observed that having a smaller area allowed the water to go up a lot faster, which we were able to introduce that having a smaller area created a higher pressure. So after doing this activity, the students understood not only that the heart was a pump, but actually had an understanding of pressure and were able to provide examples. So that was pretty good. And then for our second lesson, it was the lesson that we just presented to you guys. So we taught the students how the blood flows to the 4 chambers of the heart. And that was the students building the model that they ended up being kind of confused with.
okay, so lesson 3 is the lesson I talked about right after. We did lesson 2 is where we did engineers make accurate models. This is the heart valve model we had in the build, which is basically 2 baby bottles pushed together, one without the little top part, so you can only push blood in one direction. This was a really good lesson for them because they finally got to understand what engineers did. We got to explain a little bit of why we want to be engineers and what we do in college as engineers. So that was a good lesson for them. So the final lesson we did was actually on heart disease. We focused on heart attacks and why they happen, how they occur. And our main activity in this lesson was to perform a bypass surgery. So we explained to them what, yeah, it was pretty advanced stuff. We explained to them what it was, and then we gave them a little tube with a piece of gum inside, which represented the plaque and the clogged artery, and we had them make incisions and insert this bypass artery inside. And so here we had the soap bottle playing our heart, and a cup once again playing the body. And they just got to pump it, and the students really had a lot of fun with this lesson. Of course, everyone got their white dress shirts, all bloody, and the teacher was too happy with that. But
Stain, not
red water. And so that was our final lesson with these students. And as you can see, once again, this is our pre and post assessments. We gave them the pre-assessment before teaching them anything, and the post-assessment after the last lesson. As you can see, there's dramatic improvement in all the questions we asked about what an engineer does, how many chambers there are in the heart, and the formula of pressure, examples of pressure. And so the students definitely showed improvement, and a lot of them, like you can see, they really had no idea about any of this stuff before we taught them. So it was really nice to see them improving and actually learning. And in terms of the challenges, I'm sure everyone will say similar things. The first thing I found the most challenging was having a story, because we can throw a lot of science, a lot of activities at the students, but in the end, they might not remember that in a week, a month, hopefully more than a week, but in a month, 2 months, years, but they'll remember the story, they'll remember why they were learning it, and hopefully that memory will make them want to learn more and will keep them interested in learning science. Maybe not what we taught them exactly, but wanting to learn more and pursue more in terms of their education. A lot of people were saying this, but distilling concepts, you only have 4 weeks, and that's one concept per week. And being in school for so long, we know a lot of biology, we know a lot of science, we want to teach them as much as we can. And the hardest part was finding 4 topics that would be the most impactful, that would give them the most understanding of our story, of our topics. And so that was really challenging. And finally, the preparation. This means just planning the lessons, doing the physical labor, buying the materials, preparing them. Like for this heart model, I just want to say, we had to poke holes in all of these Tupperware containers, and they're a lot tougher than you think. And so we had 60 Tupperware containers, and we each did 30, and it took me at least 3 hours poking it with a pen in each one. And my fingers were all raw, and like I didn't realize it'd take so long. Kara tried to warn me, I didn't listen. And so a lot of the stuff is time management. It's a lot of time management. That's like one of the biggest skills I've learned, because if you go to class, you don't do the homework, that affects you. If you go to a classroom and you don't have enough models for everyone, well, that affects a lot of 12-year-old kids, and so you definitely end up feeling bad. But we did come through. I didn't do that. So one of the things that wasn't a challenge was the student participation. They really loved having us in class. They really wanted to learn, and they're really excited to see us. Actually, I'm going to add another challenge, is that when the students are goofing off, you kind of have to reel them in. But what happened with me was I started acting like a kid too. So when we had them take their blood pressure, there'd be a student running around with the 300/300 blood pressure, and I was laughing, but I guess I had to stop them. But I thought it was funny. So that's just an extra challenge for me, I guess.
Alright, now just a little bit about concluding remarks. I felt that the kids definitely learned a lot from the stuff that we taught. It was definitely great to be able to ask the students after they'd done the experiments, and then just ask them questions in general, and they were able to answer, and actually you could see that they actually grasped the material that you taught. So that felt really good. I know that it was definitely a valuable experience for them, and it was a valuable experience for me as well. I think that it helped me develop communication skills that I could use later on as an engineer in the workplace, in terms of taking a difficult engineering concept and explaining it to someone who's not an engineer. And also I saw this as a great community service opportunity, because the fact that we got to go for 4 weeks as opposed to just having a bunch of college students go to your class once and then you never see them again. With this, we went for 4 weeks, so that every time we came back, the students remembered us, and they remember the stuff that we did. So I thought that with that, we really made an impact.
Alright, so here you got me in a little action pose, but for my concluding remarks, I put the first one as celebrity. It was really fun to go into class every week, and they're just really excited to see us. They're like, Bharat, Bharat. They actually, I thought it was awesome. They came to visit campus once, and they were touring the School of Engineering, and you're just walking by, seeing them, and they just creep up behind them, and they just get so happy to see you. They'd be like, "Oh my God, you're here!" Like it was cool to see them, or it was cool to I guess it was cool for them to see me in like my college environment as a student myself and not just a teacher, and also making a positive influence, as everyone said. Just seeing their faces light up and just seeing how much they've learned shows that you are making a positive influence, and it feels good because in general, usually as a student you don't get to do that often, especially for me. I haven't volunteered since high school, and this is a good time, and it reminded me why I like doing it so much. And of course the useful skills, I learned communication, time management, organization, and just getting to teach people because I've learned a lot and it's good to share. And it was great to share my knowledge with students, and it was an amazing experience. So.
That is it.
Wow.
We have any questions?